Okay, right, so I'm going to run you through a past paper question. So we're going to have a look. So describe the processes that cause the main changes, the percentage of carbon dioxide. So we're going to start it by giving the background. So when volcanic activity occurred 4.6 billion years ago, huge amounts of CO2 was emitted. So this means high percentage of CO2. So when the oceans were then condensed by the precipitation, condensed. So when the volcanic eruption let out the water vapor and it condensed, oceans were then formed. So then the CO2 was locked into rocks as well as carbon precipitate formed, lowering CO2 levels. So all of this was between 4.4 and 2.7 billion years ago. So when algae appeared, it took in the CO2 from photosynthesis. So then what we're going to do, when evolution happened of plants plus animals, respiration took in CO2, lowering the levels. All sedimentary rock plus fossil fuels were being found. But what they weren't being found, they're being created and formed. So that part increases the levels. So all of this occurred over 2.1 to 1.7 billion years ago. Okay, now the final part. Over the past 100 to 200 million years ago, human activity fossil fuel burning and the Industrial Revolution increased the levels of CO2. So now let's change over to a different colour. So let's use this red. We're going to go through the points and see how many marks this will get. So when volcanic activity occurred, 4.0 huge amounts, so that's 1 mark already. When condensed locked into rocks as precipitate formed, lowering CO2, we can give that a mark. When algae appeared, took in from photosynthesis, that's our 3rd mark. When evolving, respiration took in CO2, 4th mark. When lowering the levels, the sedimentary rock and fossil fuels were created and formed, so part increases the levels. We could give it, we couldn't give it. So over the curd over here, so Industrial Revolution activity, so that's 2, 4, 5. So now we look at our other points here. The ocean's condensing, this I would give this personally half a mark. And then when we have our sedimentary rock and fossil fuels were formed, I would give that half a mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be an ideal 6-mark answer. Remember to now screenshot this and make sure to learn this for your upcoming mocks.